Hello, class. First thing I'm going to do is go through the answers from your homework yesterday. Um, so if you get that out, and if any time you need anything paused, just ask the sub to pause. So going through these, number 14, you should have horizontally shrunk by a half. For number 16, you should have vertically shrunk by 0.3. Since it's less than 1, it's going to do what it should do. For 22, in drawing these, I'll show you what they should look like. You start with, think of starting with x cubed. So x cubed is our John Travolta. If I have x cubed minus 2, it would be that moved down 2. Same picture. If I have x plus 4 minus 1, that is going to go left 4 and down 1. So it would be that same picture like that. And then for the last one, it's right 1 and then vertically stretched by a factor of 2, which really, it's harder to draw that, but it's going to make it go up quicker. I don't really ask you to draw stretches and shrinks as much as the left, right, unless I gave you points. So for 24, you start with absolute value. We should all know that's our V shape. So first one is stretched by 2, flipped over the X and down 3. So if you really think of what that's going to look like, it's going to be skinnier, upside down, down 3. Second one moves left 5, up 4, which would take it there, and then again vertically stretching it would make it real skinny. You'd go like sort of like slope up 3/1. And then the third one is a horizontal shrink of a third. So what that's going to do is actually make it if you think of what it would look like if you put 1 in, you're still going to get 3. So it's still going to look like the absolute value, but it is shrunk by a factor of a third. So those are, and again, don't be as concerned about the vertical stretches and shrinks and horizontal stretches and shrinks. So 39 to 41, what we should have for that one. 39, the function, if you think of what you're going to do with all of these, just sort of in general, a vertical stretch of a factor of 2 is going to be 2 times f of x. Horizontal shrink by a factor of a third, it's going to be f of 3x. So, I mean, I could take any of them and do that math. If I just do, let's say I randomly did 41. Okay, so 41 is f of x equals x squared plus x minus 2. If I do 2 times f of x, it's going to be 2 times that function. So if you distribute that, you'll get 2x squared plus 2x minus 4. Horizontally shrink it by a third, you're going to do f of 3x. So wherever you see an x, you put 3x. So you'd have 3x squared plus 3x minus 2, which would give you 9x squared plus 3x minus 2. Remember, you could put them in your calculator to see that they actually look the way that they should look in shifting them. So hopefully that answers those. For 43 through 50, and this is sort of just me saying them, 43 you would move right 3, vertically stretch by a factor of 2, and then down 4. 44 you would translate left 1, vertically stretch by a factor of 3, and reflect across the x-axis. 45, you would horizontally shrink by a third and then move down 4. 46, you would go left 4, vertically stretch by a factor of 2, reflect over the x, and then translate up 1. 47 to 50 is writing equations from what you see. 47, you should have 3x minus 4 squared. 48 actually would be the exact same thing. 3. And really what this shows is with these, it does not matter what you do first or second with the right and the vertical. 49, you would have 2 absolute value of x plus 2 minus 4. And then for 50, sorry, it would be, if we look at this, we're going to shift it left 2, horizontally shrink it by a factor of a half, and then down 4, you'd have 2x plus 2, and then minus 4. Last one's multiple choice. 61 to 64. 61 was C, 62 D, 63A, 64E. Hopefully that answered those questions. So what I want to do, just a couple minutes, is we looked at this yesterday, and second period wrote these down, seventh period did not. So if you need to write them down, you can have the sub pause the video. But as I said yesterday, order is going to matter. So you want to do all your vertical, then your horizontal, or all your horizontal, then your vertical. But in choosing those, you have to do them in the order that's given. So with vertical, you have to do reflections, stretches, and shrinks before you move up or down. With horizontal, make sure it is factored, move right or left, which means you'd be doing the thing inside, then stretch or shrink it by that, and lastly, reflect it. So if we look at one, what you're going to be asked to do is graph them. So I give you a picture, and I want you to find a new picture. Okay? That f of x is some strange looking picture. So if we look at this, if you think of, I mean, it doesn't matter if you stretch it, then move it left or right, or if you move it left or right, then stretch it. I guess to me, I think of doing what's inside. So I think of moving this left one, then I think of vertically stretch, and then lastly, I would think of down 3. if you think of how you have to move these with pictures, you want to take key points. So if we think those are key points of this picture. So if I move everything left 1, that would take this to -3, this to -1, this to 3. So it's sort of like you'd have this picture. Vertically stretching by a factor of 2, make sure you see vertically stretching is going to affect the y's. So if you think of this point like -2, 0, that y is 0. It's not moving. This is 4, 0. That y is not moving. And I mean, it wouldn't, this point or this point, it doesn't matter. The new point or the old point. But my point here that is -1, 2, if it's vertically stretched, that 2 is going to get multiplied by 2, and it's going to become -1, 4. So now my picture looks like that. Lastly, if I move everything down 3, that would just be you taking that's down 3, from there down 3, and from here down 3. So your final picture is this thing moved. And again, you could have switched these two, but not the down 3. Okay, if you look at one more, just to get the idea, I think that's it. There's my f of x. So I look at this as I'm going to move right 3, then I'm going to reflect over the x, then I'm going to move up 1. So I take my key points and I do those 3 things. So I move right 3, right 3, right 3, right 3. Here would be my... Now, if I reflect it over the x, think of what you're doing with those points when you reflect over the x. If I have an x to reflect over the x, I'm changing my y. So it becomes -y. All right, so if we look at this, this was 1, 2, 3, -5, 5. It would now become -5, -5. This one is -3, 7. It would become -3, -7. This one's -1, 2. It would become -1, -2. This one is 3, 6. It would be 3, -6. So now my picture looks like that. It's moved right 3. It's flipped over the x. And now lastly, move everything up 1. And your final picture is that. Just be careful with your stretches with vertical stretches. You're affecting the y, so you're multiplying the y. Horizontal stretches or shrinks, you're multiplying the x. So that should do it. Now what you're going to be given to you is 4 papers. One paper is all multiple choice over transformations. Next paper is dealing with shifting functions like this. I give you 2 functions, ask you to move 2 of them. Next paper is a project going over characteristics of functions, because that will be on your test on Friday. And then the last thing, just because I know some of you will be missing, is the review that I will be here on Thursday to go over. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions. You have the rest of the time to work and really the next day to work all day Wednesday. If you're not going to be here Wednesday, make sure you get those papers and have everything done for Thursday. The function characteristic paper won't be due until Friday, but you need to know that for your quiz, so I would do it before then. But you'll get extra points for that. All right, have a good day.